Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're taking a look at the MG34 LMG in Call of Duty Warzone. This actually got a secret buff in one of the most recent patches, which this weapon did have an open bolt trigger delay. So when you pressed your trigger, there was about a 350 millisecond delay. Now, after that update, there's only about a 100 millisecond delay, which definitely helps this gun because the time to kill is the fastest in the game, and by reducing the delay it takes to shoot is definitely going to help you with that overall time to kill and definitely going to make it a lot faster. So in today's video, we're showcasing you guys the two best class setups, talking about the positives, the negatives, and just like every video, we're going over all the attachments and tell you guys which ones are good, which ones are bad, and which ones you guys should completely avoid. So what we're talking about right now is the base stats of the weapon. The damage is a 34-30 damage profile, which is average for LMGs, 1.5 times the head, which is average for LMGs. Your base range is 34 meters, which is the worst out of all the LMGs. Your fire rate is about 870 rounds per minute, which is the 5th fastest shooting weapon in the game, which is very good for it. The movement speed is 83%, which is the worst out of every gun in the game. And your aim down sight time is 467 milliseconds, which is the worst out of every gun in the game. So your range sucks, your mobility sucks. The only thing it really has going for it is the fire rate and has a decent damage. So those are the base stats of the gun. I've been researching this video for about a week, trying to figure out the best class setup, trying everything out for this gun. The positives and the negatives basically dictate everything about this weapon. The negatives are probably the worst thing about the gun. The positives are very good about the gun, so it kind of balances out, but the positives are so minimal. And the negatives, in my opinion, is basically every stat of the gun. So what you guys are going to look at on the screen now is the positives of the weapon. Yes, the fire rate is excellent. One of the fastest shooting weapons in the game. That would also affect the time to kill, making it one of the fastest killing weapons in the game. And the best thing about this weapon, which I am very, very fond of, is it has a vertical only recoil. It does not pull to the left. It does not pull to the right. In my testing with every attachment I tried on it, the recoil pattern was purely vertical only, which is the easiest to control, which is actually probably the best thing about this weapon is the vertical recoil. It's very easy to control, which is going to help you obviously hit your shots better. So the negatives about it is the mobility. It has the worst mobility out of every single gun in the game. In a game like Warzone, where moving around a lot, you are going to be moving around the slowest, is going to have a huge effect on that. And with the fastest killing weapon, your aim down sight time being very slow is going to have a huge effect because one-on-one gunfights, playing solos or trios, you're going to not able to aim down sight, which is definitely going to affect you a lot and when you're losing a lot of your gunfights. The range is the worst out of all the LMGs. And this gun does have a lot of vertical kick. Unless you stack it with like 3 attachments to give it the least amount of recoil possible, it's really going to have a lot of vertical kick. And then the biggest factor for me is the attachments suck. There's no long barrel that helps with the recoil control, which I guess somewhat balances this gun. And there's very few attachments that are going to help with the movement speed and the aim down sight time without making your recoil worse. So it's kind of something they definitely need to look at buffing. The more I research these videos and try and figure out what's good and bad, the more I realize how well they balance these weapons to try and make them fair. This gun is very similar to the Holger 26 and the attachments just suck. There's only 3 base attachments you're going to be using, which are the best 3 attachments for this weapon. That is the no stock, the Ranger foregrip, and the tack laser. So the list of attachments is probably the shortest I'm going to be recording for a video. So the reason you guys clicked on the video is the class setup. As always, I recommend 2 different class setups. One is going to be the best for long range to give you guys the best recoil pattern. The other one is obviously going to be for close range rushing if you're a very aggressive player to give you guys the best mobility. So as I said, the difference between these class setups you'll see is only 1 attachment. The Ranger foregrip is the best attachment to use. It stacks excellently with the rubberized, which you guys can see on the screen. Now the difference in the recoil pattern with the Ranger grip alone and with the rubberized, it definitely helps a lot. Obviously, I use the monolith suppressor on pretty much every single class setup, which does kind of hurt your aim down sight, which is a huge negative, but I just love the attachment. I use the tack laser because it gives the fastest aim down sight time out of all the attachments for this weapon. And we're going to be using the 100 round mag. The difference between the 100 round mag and the 75 round mag you guys will see in just a second. But the 100 round mag with the gun having the fastest fire is definitely something you want to go for. And with the other best class setup, the difference between the two attachments is, the only difference is we're putting no stock on versus the 100 round mag. The 100 round mag class setup is basically for long range. You're trying to get a lot of kills, you're trying to put a lot of damage out at long range. It's definitely gonna be the best, but if you're trying to get the best mobility class setup, putting the no stock on there is basically going to counter all that, make your recoil worse, but your movement speed and aim down sight time better. So basically going over the attachments, the two most important things I found comparing it head to head is going to be the no stock and the stubby barrel. Basically, these are the two barrels and attachments that are going to affect your movement speed and your aim down sight time. The basic difference between the two is they're basically going to have a almost identical aim down sight time, almost identical movement speed, but the stubby barrel is going to give you 20% less range for a little bit better recoil pattern. You guys will be able to see on the screen now the default versus stubby versus the no stock. Extra vertical kick is so minimal you probably wouldn't even notice it. In exchange, you get 20% less range, which the gun already sucks at the range category, so I don't recommend it. The Brute and the Elite, when you actually do the testing, is actually the same barrel. I think was an accident. The stats on the screen that showcase what they do is actually wrong. They give you 20% more range for a 10% slower aim down sight time. The fact that they don't affect your recoil at all, the 20% more range is irrelevant to make your aim down sight time worse. It makes the gun better where it sucks, and it makes the gun worse where it sucks, so it doesn't really have that effect on the gun. The extended mags is the 75 and the 100 round mag. The only difference is the 100 round mag only has a 1% slower movement speed. They both affect your aim down sight time by about 5%, and both affect your movement speed. Getting 25 extra bullets for only a 1% slower movement speed, where it has the exact same aim down sight time, is obviously 100% worth using. You either use the 100 round mag or only use the 50 round mag. There's no difference. You compare the stipple grip, the no stock, the CQC stock, and the tack laser. The tack laser obviously improves your aim down sight time by 15%, which is actually the fastest, definitely twice as fast as all their attachments, and it obviously helps with your aiming stability, which trying to hit your first shot with this gun is definitely going to be excellent. The stipple grip gives you about a 20% faster sprint out time, which I definitely would recommend. It also gives you about a 7% faster aim down sight time. No stock's the same, about 7% faster aim down sight time, but you definitely get that movement speed increase, which I 100% recommend. Like I said, the recoil is a little bit worse, but not really noticeable because it's purely only vertical, which is what's excellent about this gun. And the CQC stock is 7% faster ADS, so if you compare that to the stipple grip and the no stock, they both do the same thing and get a better stat improvement in the second category they both add, so I recommend stipple grip and no stock over the CQC. So if you take a look at the overall time to kill of this weapon, it has the fastest time to kill in the game out of all the guns, up to 34 meters. There's only one gun, the Dragunov, which no one uses, has a faster time to kill. So out of all the base ARs, LMGs, SMGs, has the fastest time to kill up to 34 meters. So it's an excellent close range weapon. With it having a vertical recoil pattern only, it's very, very good. So basically, to wrap it up, yes, they buffed this weapon. The one thing I've tried to do in the videos, which I'm trying to keep it as real and keep it as 100 as possible, some of these guns just suck. I definitely think they should balance them. Obviously, some of the guns, they just suck. They never balance them. They want people to use the same guns over and over. But the MG34 is definitely in the list of guns that needs a buff. They could add some new attachments like they've done to a couple of the other weapons. Maybe add a long barrel that increases the range, which helps it a little bit. Maybe buff a couple of the attachments in the mobility category like they did to the Holger. Those are two of the things I definitely 100% want. This is definitely a very good weapon in the hands of someone that plays very aggressive. But the negatives are so negative about it, I don't recommend this gun at all, especially in Warzone when you could be using the Grau, the M4, or the PCAM, or even the Mark 9. They're all going to be so much better than this weapon. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys learned anything new, you want to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Leave a comment down below what you guys actually think about this weapon. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you guys think? Make sure you guys use code Trapgod on all of your SCUF and GFUEL purchases. If you guys didn't know, my code right now is 30% off all GFUEL products until the 25th. So if you guys want to buy some GFUEL, use code Trapgod. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.